My name is Josh Frank. I'm an elected councillor of the Comox First Nation. When I was first introduced to treaty, I was quite young, still in junior high, I think, maybe even younger. And you were always asked questions. What do you want to see in your future? You know, like what's going to happen there? And now here I am, you know, seated at the table as a grown-up, and we're still in this process.
The importance of lands and resources to Comox First Nation and Comox First Nation members is probably the biggest piece that there is. It's core to the heart and the definition of Comox people, and I'm reminded every single day how important it is. Members of the public are coming into the office on a regular basis, or phoning and asking Comox First Nation permission to do this with a resource or a piece of land or some water. Not just Comox members, but the members of the public in the Comox Valley see Comox as stewards of the land, the key piece. And so lands and resources to Comox in the treaty process are absolutely critical.
Well, I think since the beginning of time, First Nations have had an intricate and physical and cultural connection to the land. It guided us in everything we did, where we lived, what we ate, when we lived there, and that's why the land is so important. All of our traditional knowledge, our culture, our spirituality is connected to the land.
From my experience and what I see of Comox First Nation, lands and resources are absolutely critical to moving forward in history. That reconnection to the land and stewardship of the lands and resources, recognition of the stewardship responsibility are absolutely key. And without ownership of lands and resources through the treaty process or any other process, the future of Comox would not be what it should be or could be.
Well, currently, Comox First Nation, like many First Nations across Canada, are deemed wards of the Crown, and everything's determined by Ottawa to a certain degree. Through the modern treaty process, we're negotiating to become self-determining and determine our own collective future together. The lands and resources being negotiated in the Comox Treaty offer a lot of opportunity for our members, but also security and protection of those resources that we're negotiating for.
So, in terms of lands and resources' importance to Comox and benefit to Comox, lands and resources are the platform upon which stewardship and co-management may be exercised, upon which economic opportunity and potential can be realized, and which the cultural and heritage practices and exercising of the rights of Comox people can be exercised.
Well, historically, our nation utilized all of our land base from the top of the mountains out to the sea. In the modern treaties, we draw a big red circle around our territory, and that's considered our statement of intent, or traditional territory. As we move through the treaty process, it enables us to really take control over our land base and make our own laws and regulations, and you know, forms our revenue stream. Our resources we've always been pretty shut out of, whether it be aquaculture, fishing, forestry, all those things are the things that I think of when we talk resources. Not everything's a short-term opportunity. As First Nations people, we're always thinking long-term, you know, 100 years out, 200 years out. We're planning for our future generations and trying to set them up. So I feel like our treaty package has really given us that opportunity and that large land base that may not be super beneficial day after treaty, but you know, 20, 50 years from now, there's going to be extraordinary opportunity for our future generations to really capitalize on that land and develop it as they see fit. With the land base that we've negotiated with the government, it's only 2% of our traditional territory, but it's still a large land base, and you know, there's still a lot of opportunity in the future for our children and grandchildren to really make something of it.
Comox First Nation can benefit through the modern treaty process through economic development opportunities on the lands, as well as environmental protection and lawmaking. It allows for management of our resources to ensure Comox First Nations needs are met in regards to water as well as management over forestry tenures.
So other modern-day First Nations in treaty have benefited immensely from the lands and resources which have been repatriated through the treaty process, but also by extension of the opportunity to co-manage and have a say in decision-making off of treaty settlement lands. My nation, the Cayuga-Checklasset First Nation on the west coast of Vancouver Island, has been in treaty now for 8 years. And it's been a challenge to develop the capacity, do the lawmaking, learn modern day management techniques and meld them with the historic practices, and engage with other governments and players on the landscape. But with that said, it's been empowering to work our way through the challenges and see the opportunities and the benefits.
For me, the treaty process really gives me hope that our future generations are going to succeed. They're not going to have the same restrictions that past generations faced. We're really going to be taken seriously and be a self-governing nation with opportunity.
Our traditional knowledge, culture, everything comes from the land. The land dictated where we lived, when we lived there, what we ate. The land cared for us and we cared for it.